Welcome to the Business Men and Women of Color podcast. I am your host, Anna Alston, and it is once again my pleasure to bring quality programs to all of you. I am here again with another amazing author and speaker and two-time coming back to the podcast participant. I'm just so happy to have her here, and definitely in the year 2019, we have so many amazing people on the platform this year. So this is definitely something you need to get on in 2020 as we come back in year 5, because we are in year 4. So make sure that you like, share, and vote for your favorite podcast participant. We would like to see everyone have fun this year on the podcast. So make sure that you go to all the pages and check them out. Listen to the podcast participants that are sharing their story here. They are really here to inspire you and to let you know what they have been through so that you can make a decision on your career and business. Before we get into our interview today, we first need to thank our corporate sponsors, who are My Financial Home, Evangelism Radio, J&F Enterprises, Sears Consulting, Autism Families Rock, Awakening to Love, Eli Natoli, Kimberly McLemore, True Synergy, and Platinum Financial Services, along with all of our other participants who are here to make this a great season in 2019. So let's get into it. So today I have two-time return BMWOC participant, Kellie Watkins, aka Kellie Kell. My girl, she is an author. She's a blogger. She's an editor, writer, and co-owner of Japut, which is a small publishing company, and a cupcake connoisseur living in Washington, D.C. with her beautiful family of humans, roosters, lions, wolves, and a 3-level home, which she has in her bio because she loves to have funny things in her books. One of the ones that I know that I personally have purchased from her is The Savvy Diva Takes on 44 Days of Random Thoughts and Observations. And if you are interested in hearing what she had to say in her last podcast, make sure you click the link below and listen to her podcast that she had when she was here. And she is going to be on here talking about what has been up with her and what has been going on with some of the new publications that she got going on. So let's get into it. Kellie,
Thank
how you doing?
you. Hi, Ann. I'm so happy to be back the second time. I really had fun the first time we did this. What was that, 2016?
To 2016, 17. It's been a while, but you know what? You came back, and I've been following you, and I think we've been following each other, but you are
Yes.
doing some amazing stuff, and definitely want to kind of like reintroduce you to the podcast community. So for those that are listening and learning about you for the first time, go ahead and introduce yourself, where you're from, and what was your general interest before you became an author, a blogger, and a writer.
So I am originally from Washington, D.C. Yay. I've always written. My earliest memories of being in school, writing about like my favorite desserts. And I started blogging maybe back in 2007, 2008, and just writing about my random thoughts, which is what my first book, 44 Days of Random Thoughts and Observations, was birthed from. And I just jot down some of my crazy thoughts, like during my morning commute, or washing clothes, or taking care of my child, or like you said, my roosters, wolves, and lions. I have a full household full of pets. I've always been a pet lover, and they make my day go by just by laughing at their crazy antics. So right now I have 2 dogs, 2 cats that sort of entertain me through my day as I'm trying to write and just be productive in my craft. That's about it. I write every day. Most of the time my writing starts in the evening. I try to do it in the morning, but it's kind of hard after I get through the morning commutes and dropping off folks in the morning to school and work. So I have a lot of, as I say, shenanigans going through my day. I have dance parties with the animals. I have cocktail hour early before happy hour is anywhere in the DMV. And I just get started that way. And I write about whatever comes to mind to sort of fuel my creativity and try to work on the projects that I have going on, which is the part 2 of my second book, If These Shoes Could Talk, The Awakening, and another book of short stories like 44 Days of Random Thoughts and Observations, which is called The Powder Room Chronicles. So hopefully those 2 will be out at the end of this year. I'm really working hard to complete those 2 projects.
Wow. Okay. Because I was going to ask you what was going to be your next publication, but you already kind of answered that question. And I'm happy to hear that you are definitely doing that. And so, since being on the podcast, what else has been exciting for you that has happened in terms of your business, your publishing company, or speaking in the public?
So I'm glad you asked that. So my company Jaffa, we just recently became a certified business enterprise through DC because we're
Nice.
registered in DC. And so we are in the process of working to get contracts through the DC Public School System, the DC Recreation Center, and the DC Public Libraries. We are also the Penn Faulkner Foundation. We are the Writers in Schools Selected Authors, where Penn Faulkner, basically, they will pay you for your books, pay your publisher, which is us, we're the publishing company, for the books, for the authors to go into the schools and speak to the students, all the DC public school students. And they will provide the books to those students, and you come in and Penn Faulkner will pay you to speak at each of the author events. So we've been doing that since this is now March. I want to say February was my partner's first speaking engagement with Penn Faulkner. I actually have one coming up tomorrow, and mine is kind of different. They told me when they sent the request that it was a different ask. So I will be speaking with a group of, I think, 6th through 12th grade students. They're going to be on an all-girls retreat at their school. So
Nice.
it's in the evening, and I'm really getting geared up. I got my my speech already ready, and I have a writing activity for them to do after the speaking engagement. So I'm getting really excited about that. So that's what we've been doing, working on, aside from working with Penn Faulkner, we've also engaged DC Public Schools ourselves. So we've gone to high schools like Ballou. We were at Easton Senior High the other day. That's my alma mater, Easton Ramblers.
Nice. Nice.
So we've been like trying to jump through the community as much as possible. We also have creative writing workshops. So we partner with a local church in Maryland. They're in Suitland, Maryland, Imani Temple. And so we did a creative workshop, writing workshop there back in February. And we have a couple of more that we're going to schedule with them as well. So we've been busy, like taking small steps, but we're really getting out there.
Okay. You know what? First of all, that's fantastic because I do know, I think it was like a year ago, something like that, you expressed interest getting into the school system. And I'm glad that you were able to cross over and make that transition and get into the schools, because it's kind of hard sometimes with DC and Prince George's County schools to kind of partner sometimes. But I'm glad that you were able to get into the schools and create a program in which kids can really be active in, and especially when it comes to writing.
Yes.
What has been the impact for the students who have taken part of your activities, and what success stories can you share out of that?
A lot of students, they are really engaged. They are really happy to like tap into their creativity. The actual writing activities that I create, because of course my background, I am very educated. I have a master's in creative writing. So I put together a small program that will help engage the writer, the potential writer, to learn how to write in creative writing, as well as do small activities that will sort of help them. It's different phases. So we start out with doing small creative writing exercises to get your juices flowing. And then I have like a creative writing 101, creative writing 201, creative writing 301. So each phase will help the writer, one, learn how to write, two, create a short story, create a novel, work on dialogue. And then the third phase would, if they are very interested, is trying to write a screenplay. So we've only rolled out The first one, Creative Writing 101, which will sort of help that person learn how to write if they haven't ever tried. And they enjoy it. The writing activity that we had back at the church with some of the youth, they were very engaged. We sort of incorporated some historical aspects to help them sort of learn about history, like our ancestors, Egypt, the land of Ham. And so we sort of help them come to a conclusion, like learning about like Joseph, like what if back then they had social media, how would they use that to impact their lives, and how would they spread their messages, and they were very creative in how they came to their own conclusions, like using the tools that we have now back in a time where social media wasn't even relevant. So I think that the more we get engaged with the community, the more students will not only learn about historical aspects, but also learn about their own creative skills, creative
Mm-hmm.
writing skills.
Yeah, you kind of said something that resonated with me when you're talking about not using technology as much, but I really do applaud the fact that you are broadening their knowledge outside of technology, just having them sit and write and learn about their history and learn about all these different things that takes them completely away from social media, takes them away from TV commercials. It just takes them away from a lot of stuff. And believe it or not, I think that people their knowledge, they get so much awareness, they start noticing a lot of things around them. And so I really like the fact that you are engaging them in this way, that I think is a lot more personable, for
Yeah.
kids who are really, trying to learn all that stuff. So congratulations to you on all of that stuff.
Thank
All of
you.
that st all of that stuff. So, what is now gonna be happening now that you have all this stuff going on right now and you have all these events for you personally? What is it that you are looking to do, to empower and improve yourself, in all of this that you're doing?
Great question, because the fact that I have not actually completed my next two projects, my mom said to me a couple of months ago, like, you're getting into the schools, you're teaching your craft, but are you going to continue writing? And I'm like, of course. Like, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't complete my project. So getting more involved and seeing that our goals, my company's goals, are sort of coming into fruition, I have to make myself accountable and complete the task that I have set for myself, which is sitting down and making sure I write the sequel to If These Shoes Could Talk, and then the next book of short stories similar to 44 Days of Random Thoughts and Observations. And I think the Powder Room Chronicles is something that every female will definitely be able to relate to. It's not about going to the bathroom. It's just about our own personal, intimate stories, things that we have encountered, whether, trying to get dressed in the morning and having your pantyhose ripped. I've created like comical stories that sort of surround those antics that women can definitely relate to.
Yeah, I think I kind of like the fact that you're looking at the funny side of things. And I think a lot of us need to start writing the funny side of us, and that's what
Yeah.
I really appreciate about your book is that, you didn't really take yourself too seriously and everything was pretty much, just you just having random thoughts and random things like we all do, right? And you kind of took it and turned it into a positive thing. And with people talking about doing journaling and or writing like you're writing, I think having something that is funny that you can laugh at is always something great that we should actually do more of.
Yes.
My thing is when I look at books like yours and so many others, because I have another friend who sent me a book about mental wellness in the workplace. I have
Mm-hmm.
another one that one of the corporate sponsors sent me a cup of coffee. How do you manage your time just one cup of coffee at a time,
Oh,
right?
wow.
And so all of these things I kind of like absorb into my daily life because not only do I want to promote the books that are out there, I also want to practice some of the stuff that I've read. and I try to absorb that. And so with the podcast platform, I want people to absorb some of the tools, and I try to do that. I don't think a lot of people sort of absorb that. They just kind of buy the book and read it. But what I was saying earlier about having something funny is to that you can laugh about some of the things that you're doing in your life and use that as a platform to propel yourself to be greater than where you are before,
Right.
to kind of reinvent yourself. And that's what I meant about, having something funny and things of that nature. And so I think that your book and what's her name, Andrea Landry Brown's books. She sent me 3 of her books actually, and Robert Thibodeau's books, and I think I've received like 10 other books from people who I have met just like you, who have stuff, and I probably have went through and picked a chapter or 2 and say, you know what, I really like this particular chapter. It aligns with what I like to do, and then I will see if it fits. And you have a lot of quirky stories in there. One of the stories I know in the very beginning of your book, you're really detailed about this particular thought that you thought about yourself, right? So you're talking about yourself, you're going very intellectual. It was hard for me to follow in the beginning, but then once I started like reading a little bit more, I was like, she is really like trying to nitpick herself right about now. And I think we do that a lot. Right. And so by the time I got to the end of that chapter, I realized that I was sort of being hard on myself as well on certain things, on certain levels. And I said to myself, I can't always, take myself too seriously and nitpicking and trying to make everything perfect or trying to make everything the way I think I wanted to make it. And I ended up creating this little persona about myself because of that. Right. So that kind of gave me like an awareness that I didn't have before. So when I read that chapter among some of the other ones that you have, and the ones that Andrea have and a cup of coffee and some of the other ones that I received, I realized that there's a little bit of me in a little of those books. And I'm able to find some tools that I can like pull out. And so I want everybody who's listening to get the same thing. When you read a book, what are you really getting out of it?
Right.
What are you doing to improve upon your knowledge or your skills or whatever? Because that is really like the baseline in growth,
Right.
I think. So we're going to get back to you because I feel like you're interviewing me now instead of me interviewing you. And I want people to get these 44 days. I didn't make it through all 44 days, but I want to challenge people to make it through all 44 days of the
Yeah.
Savvy Divas. Now, explain to the audience how you came up with the Savvy Diva.
Well, so I used to do several things in the past, like sell silver jewelry. So it was called Savvy Silver. So I wanted to keep savvy in the midst of my pen name. So I chose Jazara, which means blessed princess. So it was Jazara, the Savvy Diva. And it just stuck. I kept it. Sometimes I just refer to myself as Jazara. Sometimes I say Jazara, the Savvy Diva, or just Savvy Diva. So it's however you want to perceive me, however you want to name me when you refer to me, but all 3 is fine.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so basically we have covered your books, we have covered your events. Now, are you having any other events coming up in June or July or August this year where people can come out and either purchase your books or maybe have a writing workshop or any of that?
Yeah, so we are going to be scheduling some more writing workshops for I think the end of May, possibly July. We're going to also do some book festivals, go to book festivals, not actually host our own. And again, we just try to infuse ourselves in the community in any way we can. We'll look out for other events that accept vendors where we can go out and showcase the books. Hopefully, like I said, before the end of the year. Normally the book festivals start picking up. The last one is, I want to say, the Baltimore Book Festival, which we try to make sure we get to. So that's normally in September. I think this year is going to be in November, though. So we want to make sure when we do that one that we have my partner, David Baldwin, he has a poem book coming out, poetry, a book of poetry. And so we
Nice.
want to make sure we have that new title out along with new information about my next two projects, along with what we already have in our library, presented on the table for people to purchase. And they can always go online to our website, jaffa.com. We have a bookstore which shows the listing of our titles, so you can always purchase books online there. And we're on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and some small mom and pop bookstores.
Okay, yeah, and that's how we met too, at one of the book showings there at Prince George's Sports and Learning Center here in Maryland.
Yes.
And you're definitely going to be at a very, very huge book showing, because I know Baltimore has this huge thing every year where they have book showings. So you're definitely going to be out there with a lot of people. And if anyone is interested, definitely check out the Baltimore book shows, because there's so many authors out there. And make sure you find your way to Kellie Kell, so you can get these 44 days of random thoughts, okay?
Exactly.
That's right. It's a pretty pink book with a really cute picture of a lady on the front. And like I said, if you're interested in learning more about that and other stuff that she is doing, make sure that you click on the bottom of her page and, purchase one of her books, or come out and see her speak, or even book her to come and do a writing workshop, because we need more of the writing workshops out here today, whether it be for the church, or for kids, or for seniors, or veterans, whoever. Get them to come out and learn something about writing for sure. So I have one last question for you as we wrap up the interview process is, and I know I probably asked this question, but now I'm really going to dig deep, is what do you need personally and professionally to keep doing what you do? What do you need?
I just need the support of people who love to read or who want to learn to write, and just to purchase our books, book us for speaking engagements, and just follow us. We have a lot going on, and I'm sure that we can provide a service to people in the community.
Absolutely. Okay. So what do you need personally, though?
Personally, I just need inspiration sometimes to sit my tail down and complete my projects. That is what I really need to focus on. Like I said, I want to make sure I'm not a hypocrite when I'm telling people that they can write and learn to write, but I have to finish what I'm writing.
Yeah, I understand. And you know what? I don't think you're ever a hypocrite in anything, because as long as you are writing something, you're doing what you were born to do, which is to write and to inspire people and do everything. And so, everyone, you already got your marching orders, right? Get with Kellie Kell to help her out, give her the support. You heard what she needs, so let's give her some support. And also want you to like, share, and vote if you like this podcast interview. You can also send me an email at BMWOC@ALSTNTEC.com if you would like to hear something different, something more, something interesting. And also check out all the other pages. We have 2016 all the way to 2018. And don't forget, I'll say it again, like, share, and vote to keep yours in the running for one of 7 BMWOC awards. And also make sure you check out the BMWOC magazine that is out here on the website as well. And so with that, I want to thank you, Kellie, for being on the podcast to support small businesses and authors.
Thank you for having me again, Anna. It was such a pleasure.